Email Etiquette 101. What is it? A general set of expectations regarding how people should communicate when sending electronic mail. Why does it matter? What's the perk? Professionalism. You want to come across as someone who knows what they are talking about. Efficiency. Writing emails that are clear and eloquent will increase the effectiveness of your communication. Respect. If you are writing an email, you are often making a request. You want your audience to respect you as a person. C. Common sense. An element of basic humanity is being kind to others. Angry, hateful email is counterintuitive to that. Consider your audience. How might your style and tone be different when emailing a boss, a parent, a friend, or a pastor? How to email a teacher. In your academic career, there will be many times you email a teacher. When doing so, make these tips a priority. Email tip number 1. Use a professional email address. Your teacher will not appreciate receiving an email from sirmixalotninja@ymail.com. In fact, you should be using your PGCPS email for all emails to your teachers. Select a professional font. Use a clear print font. Avoid bright colors and highlighting behind text. They are difficult to read. Email tip number 3. Include a clear, direct subject line. Include your name. Include your class period. Include the topic. For example, subject. Molly Weller, first hour reading journal. Email tip number 4. Begin with a professional salutation. Dear Mrs. Cruz, or Good morning, Dr. Eplin. Spell the recipient's name correctly. It looks really lazy to email someone with a request, but not be thoughtful enough to take the time to double check the spelling of their name. Email tip number 6. Avoid exclamation points. They are informal. Email tip number 7. Avoid using all caps. It sounds like you are shouting at your audience. Do you understand? Email tip number 8. Avoid sarcasm followed by winky faces or other emojis. It's very difficult to decipher tone in an email. Emojis are not professional. Sometimes they can be construed as passive-aggressive. For example, thanks for the D you gave me, winky face and smiley. Email tip number 9. Don't email when angry. If the subject of the email is a sensitive one, it's best to discuss it in person. Words are read differently than they are heard. Right now, we don't really have the choice to discuss in person in emails, but it is a good tip to calm down. Perhaps let 24 hours pass before emailing so that your email comes across as more calm and reasonable. Email tip number 10. Avoid blaming and excuses. Take responsibility and ownership. Don't blame your pet or your parents or your teacher or your sibling or the president. Email tip number 11. Be clear and mention specifics. Your teacher has many students. Today in class, you handed back my paper. Which class? Which paper? Email tip number 12. Be concise. Say what you need to say in a few sentences or less. Email tip number 13. Avoid using the word you if at all possible. It puts the recipient on the defensive. In other words, makes the person you're sending it to feel like they need to defend themselves. Email tip number 14. Don't email asking for extra credit. Most of the time students do this, they haven't completed some of the mandatory coursework that was assigned. If it's really that important to you, ask in person. For me personally, I've given you extra credit opportunities that are already published. There are no secret extra credit opportunities, nothing that you can do that's different than something I've already handed out to all students saying that it's extra credit. I will not allow you to do anything that's different than everybody else because it's unfair. So when something's marked as extra credit opportunity, that is the only thing that I'm going to give you that's extra credit. So you don't need to ask me, and check your own work to make sure it was done first. Email tip number 15. Include both your first and last name in the signature block. Thank you, sincerely, or my best, Elmer Fudd. Email tip number 16. Proofread. Use complete sentences and proper grammar. Otherwise, you look unintelligent. Email tip number 17. Include a compliment and or a note of thankfulness. Compliments and gratuity make your audience more receptive to your request, and they also help you to come across as a kind person who is not completely narcissistic or full of themselves. Email tip number 18, allow for response time. Allow your teacher at least 24 hours to reply to your email. Believe it or not, we have lives too. And in this time of Corona, I am answering emails almost the entire day. So if I'm not answering your email, it's because either I've got, another 25 emails that I need to respond to. Some are from parents and other teachers that need a very long, detailed response with selections of your work. Or it just means that you've probably emailed me out of office hours, and you need to respect the fact that I've got other things to do when I'm not at work. Never email asking for something ASAP. It comes across as rude. Email tip number 19, be aware of high and low register. High register tone. This is what you use when talking to a superior like a boss or a teacher. Thank you so much for helping me study for the upcoming novel test. A low register tone is what you use when talking to a friend or a family member. It was so awesome hanging with you today studying for that test. Notice the exclamation point, the words so, like so and awesome. I would even recommend not potentially even using the word so in the high register tone example. Email tip number 20. If you have no choice but to write a lengthier email, use bullets where possible. Bulleted questions or statements are easier to read, mentally organize, remember in emails than lengthy paragraphs. How to email a teacher 101. If the content of the email is on the negative side at all, use a flattery sandwich approach. So flatter and give a positive comment, then give your request or complaint, make your complaint gently worded, and then end with flattery, positivity, and thankfulness. So notice that it starts and ends in a positive note, and then in the middle is where you've got your request and your complaint is gently worded. Ultimately, the way you email someone reflects on who you are as a person. Take your time and do it correctly so that people not only take you seriously, but also have mad respect for you. I'm now going to go over the 2 other worksheets that are used in this lesson and how to use them for your assignments this week. So you'll see in the first one, it's called student notes or email etiquette notes. You're going to see the email etiquette tips all written out for you. Then you're going to see a bad example. It then asks you in each column to fix it. You are not required to complete this worksheet. You are not required to go through and fix all of their bad examples. And whether or not you choose to, you are not to turn in any of these worksheets. Instead, make sure you follow the directions very closely at the end of this lesson that tell you what to do for credit. So when you go through these, you should see email etiquette tip number 1, use a professional email address. The bad example was cookiemonster10@gmail.com. Fixing it would be your email address. So for me, it's sierra.smith@pgcps.org because we talked about how your PGCPS email is what you should be using to communicate with teachers. Email etiquette tip number 2, select a professional font. A bad example would be, I would like to talk to you about my bad grade. Instead, this is not coming through, but you would want to change this into a more professional font. Right now it looks like it's an Arial probably, which is a fine font to use. So this worksheet isn't communicating the fonts that they had selected originally. Number 3, include a clear direct subject line. The subject in the bad example is, when is the homework due? Instead, remember it should include your first name, last name. So let me pick an example randomly. Alexa Fuentes, period 4A, 4B, assignment 8, distance learning. Number 4, begin with a professional salutation. So instead of, hey, what's up? It should be, dear Miss Smith. Hello, Miss Smith. Miss Smith. Something that is more professional than, hey, what's up? Number 5, spell your teacher's name correctly. Here was the bad example, dear Mr. Andrews. If you've ever seen the name Andrew, we know that it's spelled with an E instead of a U. Number 6, avoid exclamation points. So the bad example is, I heard from a friend that our homework is due tomorrow, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I thought you said we had 2 days to complete it, question mark, question mark, question mark. I often see these right here. That is not how you should be punctuating your sentences. So the fix it would just be, I heard from a friend that our homework is due tomorrow, period. I thought you said we had 2 days to complete it, period. Can you clarify, question mark? Number 7, avoid using all caps. I need today's homework. I was absent. It's not online. I've received several emails since distance learning that has started where you have written me in all capitals. Instead, punctuate the I should be capitalized in both sentences, and then the I should be capitalized in it's not online. Number 8, avoid sarcasm and emojis. You'll have our essays graded by Monday, right? Winky face. After all, it's been 3 whole weeks or 3 whole days since we turned them in. How long can it possibly take? Smiley face. So this is coming across as very passive-aggressive. So instead, Miss Smith, comma, when do you expect our essays will be graded by? I'm just looking on Schoolbacks and noticing that my grade is not updated. Number 9, don't email when angry. So here is the bad example. I just saw you posted our exam grades. Do you mind explaining to me how I got a D? I'm grounded all weekend because of your class. I would say I receive an email like this at least once a day, which is making me very, very sad here at home. So instead, if you're upset about your grade, take 24 hours, and then if you have a specific question about your grade, you can ask me, what questions did I get wrong on my exam? Like, I noticed that I got a D. That's a much more clear way if you are actually curious about why you got a D. If you just want to explain to me that you're mad about it, I'm not sure that email even needs to be sent. Number 10, avoid blaming and excuses, take responsibility. In the future, I'd really appreciate if you'd post the homework on our class website earlier. I didn't see it until 10 p.m., and now my mom is making me go to bed. Can I get an extension? I think I should. So here, you're, again, probably see one of these a day, where I get blamed for either the time that I'm posting something or the time that I'm emailing back or the grade that you earned on it. So if you can avoid you, do it. And then avoid my role in whatever grade that you got here. So if you do need to send me an email saying, Ms. Smith, when it comes to submitting my grades personally, can you please do that when you can during business hours, because it really helps me out in my house when your grades aren't posted in the evening? That might be a reasonable request that I could easily accommodate. Email etiquette tip number 11, be clear and mention specifics. Instead of, Dear Mrs. English, I don't understand the project, I need help. Thanks, Isla. Again, probably once a day I get an email like this. I just got one this morning. The way to fix it is, Ms. Smith, I was looking through the assignment 11 description for lesson 17. I don't understand what you mean when you say answer the questions on Google Classroom. I'm not seeing those questions. Can you please help me? Then I know exactly how to help. But right now, there's a student who still hasn't answered my email about what specifically I can help with. So I can't just retype out all the lesson directions for every lesson. Number 12, be concise. Bad example, yesterday I went to my brother's baseball game. It was long and hot. I didn't do my homework because I was tired. Then we had to eat dinner. I ate meatloaf. It's nasty. What should I do? So instead, Ms. Smith, can I get an extension on assignment number 12? I've had a busy week. Sincerely, whoever. Number 13, avoid the word you. Can you change my grade? I think it's really unfair that you put my last assignment in as late when I was actually sick on the day it was assigned. You said I had an extra time to complete it. Again, probably an email I get every day. So instead of using the word you, is there any opportunity to turn in late work for assignment X? I think in class on March 15th, you said I had extra time to complete it. Number 14, don't email asking for extra credit. I already talked about this in the slideshow. My grade is really bad right now. I don't even know if there's any way I can get it up to passing, but my parents are going to kill me if I don't. Can I get some extra credit? I get these emails all the time, especially at the end of the quarter or after grades are already due. So instead, perhaps don't even send this email. If there's nothing you can do to fix the assignments you've already turned in, again, I already give those extra credit opportunities, then the answer is automatically no, I'm not going to give you a special extra credit assignment just for you. So if you need to know if you can redo any assignments from this quarter, that would be a more helpful email. Number 15, include your first and last name in the signature box /closing. So here we say, sincerely, Noah. Instead, Noatola is where you would put in the fix-it line. Finally, number 16, proofread. Is there any way we could talk in the morning? I need to think over some options for collage, and I really need your help. It's really confusing me, plus I need a letter of recommendation. All right, sound good? So, recommendation, spelled wrong. Collage, instead of college, spelled wrong. I really need your help, period. It's really confusing me, comma, plus I need a letter of recommendation. This is not a complete sentence, so this does not make you come across as somebody who, especially if you're asking for something, is deserving of extra special attention. So check for your work for grammar, spelling, punctuation, capitalization. Number 17, include a compliment and or a note of thankfulness. Bad example, Mrs. Lane, can you help me study for tomorrow's test if I come in early? Your lesson today was really confusing to me. Thanks, Johnny. Now, this would be fine. I get these emails all the time, and I'm not offended by them, but it would be better if it was, Miss Smith, I would really appreciate if you took some extra time out. I know that you're busy, but if you could come in early tomorrow, I would really like your help in clarifying today's lesson. Number 18, allow at least 24 hours for response time. Bad example, yeah, so I emailed you a couple hours ago and you haven't responded. Are you ignoring me? I'm going to have my mom call your boss. I need an answer now. Now, I've gotten this mostly from parents. You all seem to be doing better about expecting an email in 1 to 3 days instead of right in the moment. However, just instead of, are you ignoring me? This whole email shouldn't have even been sent. Just wait 24 hours for a response. Number 19, be aware of high and low register, which we talked about in the slideshow. That lesson today was tight. Thanks so much for making learning the bomb. I can only remember one lesson that was a flop. I have so many good memories from your class. Rolling on the floor, laughing, smiley face. So all of this is very low register, which means it's all terms that you would use probably with your friends and shouldn't be sent to somebody like your teacher. And finally, number 20, use bullets to organize information. Tomorrow I'd love to get the study guide for the test. I also need our class notes. Do you still have a copy of the parent letter? Thank you for your time and helping me catch up. Miss Smith, I need the following things tomorrow if it's okay with you. An extra copy of our study guide for the test, our class notes from today, and an extra copy of the parent letter. Sincerely, blah, 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 blah. Here's the other worksheet. Again, you should not be completing this worksheet, and if you do, which is great extra practice, please do not send it to me because this is not part of the assignment. Instead, this is just used not only for your information, but also for our assignment questions at the end. So this is email etiquette practice. What's wrong with it? Hashtag email fail. Directions, read the emails that follow on your answer sheet. Explain what the sender did improperly and or informally. Again, I'm not asking you to do that. Then rewrite the email in a professional manner. Remember, these are emails sent from student to teacher, therefore need to be written formally in higher register. So we have examples here. We have 3 examples. I am going to ask you questions about these 3 examples in your assignment. So I'm just going to read these aloud quickly. To MK Ruse at ep309.org from chastenladiesall.time@email.com. Subject none. Yo, Melissa, I'm in your class and I need work. When is there going to be extra credit? I turned in a late assignment from last month in the late work basket today. Why haven't you entered it yet, Steve? Example 2. L. Meister at dunsville.edu from pickles are my favorite at email.com. Subject, hi, Miss Lorenzo. What's up, Mrs. Lorenzo? How's your day going? Mine is going great. I'm sitting here in art class. I'm supposed to be working on a project, but I don't really want to. In fact, I don't really want to be in school. I hate school. My mom makes me go because she says classes like English are important. I'm all like, whatevs, Mom, English is stupid. Video games are where it's at. Anyway, I was looking online. It looks like you messed up my grade. You need to change it back immediately or I will get in trouble. Can you explain this? Take care of this ASAP. Please and thanks. Have a good day. Kevin Pepper. Example number 3, to dunes at k12.il.us from jesselyn369@hotmail.com. Subject, Jessica Lewinsky, missing class 9-1 through 9-5. Hi, Mr. Yunez. This is Jessica Lewinsky, and I am in your 3rd hour. I'm going to be missing class September 1st through 5th because of a funeral. I'm sorry. Is there any possible way to get my work early? I would really appreciate it. I'm also looking for extra credit because I didn't do the last assignment. Thanks, Jessica. All right, now here's where you would improve it, but again, I'm not asking you to complete those worksheets. All right, thank you.